Now, before we do this, let's go over the ground rules. Rule number 1. No touching of the hair or face.
Of course.
And that's it!
You play as a unicorn.
I see assholes like you every day.
Every fucking day. Think you gonna get away with it? Not up in here!
Not up in here!
Ma, the meatloaf!
Unfortunately, I think the amateur status of the company has come through, and they bit off more than they could chew.
And I feel totally embarrassed about that whole scenario.
Welcome to Game Theory. Join me, your host Soulz, and my co-hosts, Tastes Like Chicken, HeyCarNut, and Lemon, as we discuss the latest gaming topics. Oh no. Oh no! I did it again.
Steve! Do something with this guy, please!
Hey guys, and welcome to another edition of GameTheoryCast, number 11. We have myself, HeyCarNut, and TLChicken. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks.
Hello.
Alright, we got a fresh start to the new year. Got a lot of interesting games coming out, including Mass Effect 3, Borderlands, Syndicate, and a lot of free-to-play games. You got MechWarrior. League of Legends seems to be rising in popularity. Got some patching going on for Battlefield 3. Just got a lot of games coming out. Let's see. What did you think? Oh, and we got Serious Sam 3. We've been playing that a lot lately, of course, HeyCarNut and Chicken and myself. I'd like to say that game is just, it's really challenging, crazy fun, and it brings a whole new level to what Out of This World is. What did you think, HeyCarNut? I know you played the, what was it, mental difficulty?
Yeah, I finished the game like I normally do with a game like that. I'll try to play the campaign in the default difficulty mode just to get a sense of the game, and then go back and try it on the highest level. So I did that recently, although I haven't finished the game on mental, but done a lot of co-op. And mental is basically the hard level with the enemies fading in and out of view, which makes the sound part of the game particularly useful.
And Chicken, you were also playing with us. What did you think about it? Did you have much time to play the mental difficulty?
Well, just the co-op that we've done has been on mental, so that's what I've been playing. I haven't played a whole lot of the single player. Just the co-op is a lot of fun. The game itself kind of feels like a throwback to the days where it was all about skill, where they just toss enemies at you and create such a chaotic battlefield that you got to be a good player to come out alive, and it's a lot of fun. Really enjoying it.
I don't know about you guys, but the game kind of reminds me, at least the sound bites and the way it plays out, it kind of reminds me of the older Doom games. What do you think, Rob? You think that's true, or does it kind of remind you of that fast action arcadey kind of stuff?
Yeah, and that I believe is the intent of the game, an homage to the old school Doom Unreal Tournament kind of fast-paced mayhem melee games. And I concur with Chicken's assessment that the game technologically, there's nothing oh my god about it. I mean, it's a nice looking game. It's got pretty solid movement and play. It has its quirks, but it's not meant as a showcase of technology. It's meant, in my opinion, as a showcase of a love for old, crazy, mayhem, arcadey games. And in that sense, I think it succeeds brilliantly. Not to mention, I think it's a fantastic exercise for eye-hand coordination. Things are so crazy in that game, and the enemies are coming at you from every direction in massive waves, that to stay alive, you had better have good trigger skills. And I find going back to a game like Left 4 Dead, which now feels like I'm in molasses pace-wise, those skills translate over to other games. I find myself doing things in other shooter games. It's like, oh yeah, I twitch that in a way that I wouldn't have done without 10 hours of Serious Sam under my belt. So it's a fun game and it's a great exercise.
I'd have to agree. I mean, those T-Rex bone creatures are. I mean, that's really what I get the enjoyment out of. You have like 20 coming at you at once, and it's like, help. Chicken. What do you think of the game overall, Serious Sam?
Well, it's not the most polished game, like Carnut said. It's not technologically pushing the envelope by any means, but it looks good. It runs well, plays really well. So what they were trying to do is just go back to what games used to be when I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it's not super polished and very, very pretty looking. It's not there to be the nicest looking game in your catalog. It's supposed to be a harder game.
What do you mean by polished? Are you referring to the animations? What do you mean specifically?
Yeah, some of the animations, some of the sound bites aren't cut together properly. Well, not necessarily properly. They're just not overly done. They didn't spend 4 months working on the transition from one effect to the other.
Right.
You're supposed to just get in and play and not worry about your guy when you go to melee from shooting somebody. Your view jumps and you kind of turn around and stab something. They don't really care too much about that because everything works. You can shoot people, you can melee people. There's nothing really broken about it. It's just more, you're just supposed to just play the game and survive because the game itself is chaos. There's waves and waves of enemies coming at you, and it's not just one type. It's every different type of enemy in the game all together thrown at you while you're trying to shoot, bash people, rip eyeballs out, and just make it through alive somehow.
No, it's very very intense. The battles are immense. Personally, I've noticed that the sound bites in particular, like the guy that runs at you with the bomb, that is hilarious. I mean, I can't count how many times. Well, I'm sure Rob has all the death logs, probably over 2 megs of them. And yes, people, they do record deaths, and I unfortunately have a lot of them. It's not a pretty sight, but the game is definitely very fun.
Well, for instance, we went from playing Serious Sam 3 on mental difficulty one night, and we decided to change it up later on and play some Left 4 Dead 2, and I found it really relaxing, nice to play something that was slower paced and easy. And to say Left 4 Dead is easy is not true, but compared to Serious Sam 3 on mental difficulty, it was kind of a walk in the park.
Were you playing Left 4 Dead on the highest difficulty?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay, but it was still it felt like a cakewalk compared to Serious Sam.
Yeah, Serious Sam 3 is quite the trainer. It will hone your skills, and they translate nicely, like Rob said, to a lot of other games.
Oh, no doubt. And it's. Would you say it's about? Would you say it's similar to Borderlands in the level of fun it is? I mean, obviously not skill. I mean, that's a completely different aspect of it. But do you think you've had a lot? Would you say you've had a lot of fun on the level of fun that you've had with Borderlands in Serious Sam?
Well, it's kind of tough to compare the two side by side. They're a little bit different. Borderlands is a more polished game. They had a bigger dev team to work with, so the game itself would be a little bit nicer package-wise. It's really how you play and who you play with. For a co-op experience, our same crew runs both games, so Serious Sam is just as enjoyable as Borderlands and other games like Left 4 Dead 2. It's really who you play with. If you're going to go at it single player, I would think a game like Borderlands would give you a bit more of an in-depth experience. It's a bit of a deeper game than Serious Sam 3. Serious Sam 3 is just a shooter. You just shoot stuff, kill it, and try to survive. Borderlands has a story to it. I don't really know. There is a story in Serious Sam 3, but the game isn't built around the story.
Yeah, and to add on to that, like you said, Borderlands is definitely meant for both, I think, single player and co-op. It's meant to have that integral interaction in the action RPG kind of stuff with how you do quests, pick up items, progress. Whereas Serious Sam, it does have single player, but I would think it's meant more for the multiplayer experience because, I mean, sure, you can play it single player and sure, it's very fun. I just think that, like you said, the Borderlands game had a much bigger budget and was able to accomplish more as a result. And obviously, Serious Sam is no slouch either, but they target different segments of the market.
Yeah, a completely different type of game. Borderlands is huge on the items, and the RPG element is big on that. Serious Sam 3 is, I would classify, an arcade throwback shooter. Like, nothing wrong with it, it's just a different type of game. And if you're going to do co-op, the crew that you play with in any game is a huge part of the success of the game fun-wise on a personal level. If you play with people that you don't like playing with at all in any game, it's not going to be fun. Whereas if you take a crew into a game that you just enjoy playing any game with them, well, it's going to be a blast. And a good game brings out the fun even more.
Oh, absolutely, and it's I don't think it's, I mean, I'm sure it certainly makes a difference if the person is very good at the game, but honestly, I suck at a lot of games and I still have a lot of fun. It just the level of the game design, how it plays, everything in a game, as long as it's well made, is just that's how you have fun. And I think in terms of Serious Sam, I'd say the gameplay in this case outweighs the graphics. I know Rob is a graphics junkie, but let's face it. I mean, if the gameplay is not up to par, I mean, it could be the shiniest polish, and I just don't. I think Serious Sam is right up there with probably. It's probably one of the best ones for its time, in terms of just level of fun. So what do you guys think in terms of what matters in games? Do you think it's the gameplay? Do you think it's the level of fun you have? Do you think it's sound or just the engineering feats of the game? What matters to you when it comes to enjoyment in games? Chicken?
Well, ultimately, the gameplay is a huge contributor to the fun factor. You can play a game that doesn't necessarily look the best or run the best, but if it provides a really enjoyable experience by way of gameplay, you're going to be a little bit more forgiving of its faults. But on the other hand, I think everybody likes playing a game that is technologically advancing or ahead of its counterparts, its competition in terms of games. Everybody likes to play a game that looks really good, but ultimately I don't think that's the deciding factor in a game. We ran a poll on our site, and gameplay has the most votes for the most important part of a game, and I'd have to agree. You can build games that are pushing the envelope in terms of specs. That's always good to see, but ultimately, if you get your crew together and it's a fun game to play, it could look like shit, but it'd still be awesome.
Well, and my point is that the graphics, I mean, they can even add to the gameplay experience. I guess it's just intertwined, is what I'm trying to say. Is it's like you can't. I guess you can have one or the other, but when it comes to the whole game, the gameplay, the graphics, the sound, the interface, whatever you want to talk about in the game, it's all about the fun in the end. What do you think, Rob? Gameplay, graphics, both fun in terms of what matters in games?
I think it might be kind of futile to try to simplify such a complex thing with such a simple question. It's analogous to me like asking what's important in a girlfriend. And the reality is that each individual is going to decide for themselves what makes a game great or good or bad or sucky for them. For some people, it's going to be all about the gameplay. They don't care about the graphics or the technological polish of the game or the technology underlying it. Other people may give big dings to a game because it doesn't meet what they think it should look like or feel like or act like or be based on technologically, even if it has great gameplay. And that's, frankly, the individual's right to do that. I can think of games that were certainly pushed all of my technology buttons with brilliant graphics and smart AI and great story and super graphics, but the gameplay sucked, and it was not made up for by pushing all my technology buttons. On the other hand, I've played games that any reasonable PC gamer looking at them objectively would say, geez, technologically this game kind of sucks. The graphics are dismal, the movement's clunky, the keyboard mapping is lame, and yet I've had games that would fit that description where the gameplay overrode all of that, and I enjoyed the games immensely. But the gamer next to me might have a completely different experience of those two examples. So I really think it's probably impossible to try to encapsulate what makes a good game or a bad game or what's important in a game. I think it's a very individual thing. Now, context matters, though. I recently saw a statement. I believe it was a tweet, and I think it was from a developer of one of the big developer/publisher houses. And it to paraphrase it, it said, if you write a review and you judge a game based on 1, graphics, 2, sound, 3, this, 4, that, you are clueless, or something along those lines. Now, I think that statement is both incredibly naive and supercilious at the same time. In the context of a review, I think you do need to break things down by that, and your job as a reviewer is to disseminate information. Part of that may be, hey, here's what I felt overall about the game. I liked it, or I didn't like it. It sucked, or it was great. But part of that information transfer is you have to somehow be able to quantify for people and readers that are interested in the graphics aspect of a game or the sound aspect of a game, what it's like and what the quality is. So, long answer to your short question. I think from a gamer standpoint, it's a very individual thing, and you'll get a different answer from every person. But I think it's incumbent on reviewers to break a game down into pieces and give us some kind of score so that we can at least get an idea. Geez, if they think the graphics are a 0 and I'm really into graphics, maybe I shouldn't even bother with this game.
I agree. In the last part, I think it's the reviewer's job to show the gamer or whoever is buying the product a good, not just opinion, but show him all about the game. And if they give a score of so and so, well, I know you're very much into research, Rob, and I should probably do more of that myself. But again, a game is a game, and it's all about fun, in my opinion. And I'm sure everyone has differing opinions, so we'll leave that one at that. But in the end, yes, you're right. All sorts of people have different opinions, different viewpoints, different likes, dislikes. The problem, I think, with reviews is it's a person. I mean, they make mistakes. It's their opinion, and they're entitled to it. What do you think, Chicken?
I agree. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, but the problem is when you state an opinion and try to make it a fact and don't have any sort of evidence to back it up, then you're not making the most valid argument. What I think that tweet was probably aiming at is it's all fine and dandy to break down a game and give it individual scores on individual pieces, which is good. It needs to be done. But I think what the person was trying to say is that when you do a review like that, in the end, the sum of all the pieces equals what? Is it an enjoyable game? Does it miss the mark for you personally? What is it about the different aspects of the game? How does that translate to fun in the end? And I don't know, a lot of people just give a whimsical opinion-based review and without any real concrete information. I like to see both. I like to see somebody whose taste as a gamer is very similar to mine review a game, because then it gives me an accurate assessment of, will I like the game? Should I spend the money on it or just not bother? But it's also good to see scores on different parts of the games, like graphics and controls and gameplay, because that gives you a sense of how well the game was built. So I think both parts are really important in a review of a game to really give an accurate assessment of what the game is.
Do you think, I mean, do you believe that some reviews are more biased than others, or do you think that everyone has the right to their own review style and we should take every review with a grain of salt? Or do you think that it's just, like we're saying, a matter of opinion and you just have to take it for what it's worth?
Well, in a perfect world, everybody would have sufficient funds to purchase and play every game.
Right.
Like if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. But nobody's made of money, and I don't know too many people that can buy every game out there or even want to. So reviews is a quick way to kind of discern whether a game is right for you or not. Do I think some of the reviews are biased based on money transferred, favors given? Absolutely. It's the way the industry is. It's the way a lot of different industries are. And do I agree with some of it? No. But it's there. It's never going to change. So yes, you should always take a review with a grain of salt and step back and really try to figure out if what the person's angle is. Figure out, is it a very unbiased review, or is this favorable for a certain reason? Is it negative? Case in point, all the reviews bad against Modern Warfare 3. You got to take a step back and be like, do they like Battlefield? Like a lot of the negative stuff for Modern Warfare 3 was from people that were so pro Battlefield they would hate on any game, whether it's Modern Warfare or not.
Well, that goes both ways too, though. But yeah, I see your point. I mean, it's people bash Modern Warfare 3. They look at the YouTube videos, and I've seen comments that say, "Oh, this must be a representation of the game." Well, 3,000 dislikes and 1,000 likes on a YouTube video—that's not indicative of sales. That's just opinions, and for all we know, they already bought the game. If it was more like maybe 2 million dislikes and 50,000 likes, I would probably see the light of the light of the statement. But I don't know. I don't. Too many people, I think. Actually, not too many people. I think there's that crowd that goes in games, and I just wish people would just play the game and enjoy it. And if there's a problem, constructively give criticism or feedback to the developer. But in the end, a game is all about fun. Unless, even if you're the developer, you're trying to make a product that you want to play. And I wish people, I hope you guys agree, would just enjoy the game and stop complaining. What do you think, Rob?
Well, I propose that as a motto for your show: is we're gamers, not complainers. Too many of the I don't know really what to cubbyhole them in, but other opinion shows and sites tend to be, frankly, in my opinion, fanboys with their heads up their asses, where they will refuse to take a objective view of anything if it doesn't fit their worldview. So seeing people posting things of, oh, look how crappy game XYZ is because 2,000 people disliked a video of it on YouTube, to me shows nothing more than a transparent bias against anything that has to do with game XYZ. And I agree with you completely. They're toys, they're cheap toys, They're about having fun. Some of them are great, some of them suck, and most of them are somewhere in between, and no one is forcing anyone to buy any of them. It's, buyer beware. Do your homework before you buy a game. Try to buy something that at least fits the characteristics you're going to like, and hopefully it turns out to be a great game. If it's not, you decide how you want to treat that developer and publisher in the future. Maybe you'll hold off until some of your friends have it to decide if you're going to buy it or not. But the bottom line is, nobody's forcing anyone to buy any game. Everyone has their own individual tastes, and nobody's worldview is superior to anyone else's. We're all entitled to our opinions. No one is more right than the other. The problems crop up when there's this incredible bias that we see from fan bases, and frankly, I see it from some reviewers. And that does everyone a disservice.
What do you think, Chicken?
I agree with Rob. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, yes. Nobody's is fact and nobody's is fiction. They are what they are. But in the end, as a gamer, we just need to just hit the pause button and take a step back. If we call ourselves gamers and enjoy playing games, we need to stop putting roadblocks up and just play the games because that's what we enjoy doing. If a game sucks, then, well, hopefully you didn't spend too much money on it because you bought it. But in the end, we're all going to be grouchy and very hard to deal with if we don't play games, which is what we like doing. If a game sucks, that's unfortunate. Put it aside and move on. Try the next game. I don't really know what else to say, but my motto for the next year is going to be play more games and get a little bit more first-hand information on the games. I'm going to try more and get out there and just enjoy playing them.
I'm actually looking about going to... I haven't purchased my tickets just yet, but I'm almost 99% certain I'm going to GDC. And that's, like you said, I want to get out there. I want to meet the developers. I enjoy playing games just as much as anyone. And unfortunately, people get busy, like myself, but I think the bottom line is that people just need to play the game. Stop complaining, stop whining. If you have an issue with it, hope the developers support the game, and that's that. I mean, I hate seeing bad games. I like seeing good games, but again, my one bad game to me could be a fantastic game to someone else. So who's to say I'm right or wrong? It's an opinion. Opinions, everyone knows what those are, and frankly, let's just have fun. Anyways, there's a pretty big segment coming, and it's been in development for probably about 1 or 2 years. Free to play. We got Battlefield Heroes, which kind of started it a little. I know World of Warcraft was the premier subscription-based model, but a lot of these subscription-based games, with the exception of WoW, it seems, are really starting to go to free-to-play, and I haven't done too much research on it, but what I do know is that they try to, every game's different, but they try to get about 5% of the player base to purchase the items. That's how free-to-play works. You don't want too many people purchasing items, otherwise it's disadvantageous to the overall economy. It gives people too many advantages. But I've seen one of the prime examples of free-to-play, a game I used to play a lot, not competitively, but it's called League of Legends. I don't know if they've already had it, but I know they had announced a $5 million tournament. And you talk about the first-person shooter esports scene dying. Well, it's more console orientated, and that's the direction a lot of things are going, and nothing wrong with that. But the free-to-play scene seems to be a lot on the PC. I don't know if I'm sure consoles are capable of this. I just don't know why it's not on the consoles. But all I do know is that League of Legends has about 12 million players, and this is not even within, I think, 2 or 3 years. And one of the games I'm really looking forward to, I don't know about you, Rob, and Chicken, but I'm looking forward to MechWarrior. I used to play that game a lot. It was a fantastic I would call it a third-person / first-person shooter. You guys have probably heard of it. By the way, did Chicken or Rob, did either of you play MechWarrior back in the 1990s? Okay.
Negative.
Do you like those kind of games, Chicken?
Haven't really played anything really like it, so I wouldn't really know. I just have to try it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, well, what I was getting at is a lot of these subscription-based games are starting to come out with free-to-play models. And what I've noticed with almost every single one of them is that the companies have basically been turned around. I don't know what it is about free-to-play, but it seems like games, I think even first-person shooters could benefit off of this. What do you think, Chicken? Do you think it's good for both parties, be it the players and the employees / developers, put out more free-to-play games so they can support the games longer, or do you think it's just a situational basis?
I'm not really too sure. For a business model, I can kind of understand what they're trying to do, but ultimately I think there's a little bit of jealousy on Zynga's Facebook success.
Yeah.
And everybody's trying to somehow strike gold with a free-to-play. As a player, I'm not really a fan personally. I don't like the feeling that I'm getting nickeled and dimed everywhere. I'd rather just pay for a game, get the game, and have everything included. I don't like to have to worry about, oh, should I buy this? Should I buy that? Because in the end, they're trying to get you to spend more. So personally, I'm not a huge fan of it. I would rather just see a packaged game on the shelf, go and buy it, and you play it, and that's it. DLC is a little bit different. I'm never opposed to paying some money for extra content if that's how they want to make extra money, but they're trying to break the game down into such little parts. As a gamer, you got to understand it's not ever going to be a huge deal for you, these free-to-plays. It'll let you probably try the game, see if you like it, so that's always good. But in the end, they're trying to get you to spend more than what you spent last time you purchased one of their games, so you got to keep that in mind.
What do you think, Rob? Do you like the direction of free to play? Do you not have an opinion? Do you think it's interesting? What say you?
I don't know why it's become this banner of the new now thing. Free to play's been around since late 1990s. I mean, one of the biggest games for younger gamers, Neopets.
I remember that.
Has a huge friggin' user base, and they've made a shitload of money from merchandising and stuff. It was free to play from the get-go. So I don't care one way or the other. If it's a great game and I can play it for free, hey, that's cool. If it's a great game and I got to buy it, that's cool too. I mean, whatever floats the developers and publishers' boat is fine by me. What matters to me is, do I get sufficient bang for my buck? My sort of rule of 10 hours of reasonable quality play, and I'm pretty happy with a game. And at that rate, it works out to $5 or $6 an hour, which is cheaper than any other kind of entertainment I can think of, at least in this neighborhood.
Yeah, and I hate going to the movies, so that's a no-brainer for me to keep on gaming. But speaking of, you said Neopets started in what, 1995, 1996? Because I used to play that a lot.
No, I think Neopets was 98, 99, something like that. My daughter was a big fan of that.
She also plays The Sims too, right?
Yes.
Okay. And is there any... Well, actually, I'll ask it anyways. Is there any similarities between the two? It's obviously completely different concepts.
I don't play that kind of game at all. That's I have very little interest in Sims kind of games or social management kind of games. When my daughter would play them, I'd pop by, and in general, when it was a new game, the first thing I would ask would be something along the lines of, can you make them fight, or can you make the pets attack them? And have her show me. Or she also played, there was a sort of world building called something like SimCity or something like that.
Oh, I
My
remember
first
that.
question was, can you cause a natural disaster and destroy the city? Oh, a meteor? Make it come in and blow it up. I want to, go kill things and destroy things and preferably be the character doing it in the game. I don't have the patience for, did I feed little Skippy's dog in the house 5 doors down in the other city on the map? My daughter, on the other hand, very much enjoys that kind of management, so that's why she got into those games. But to answer your question that you asked initially, are they similar? I have no friggin' idea because I've never played them. They just do not attract me at all.
Yeah, I was gonna say I played a lot of SimCity. We used to have this. I think it was an older Apple Mac, and I used to play the shit out of that SimCity on that. It was a lot of fun. And then I also used to play Oregon Trail on the library computer. That was back when I was like 9 or 10, but a lot of good times. Speaking of good times, what do you actually? We got Borderlands 2 and we got Mass Effect 3. Not much is known on Syndicate, it looks like, but all three of those games seem to have 4-player co-op, at least 2. And I have played Mass Effect 2. It's a great single-player game, very challenging. It's probably if you're good, it's probably well into 20 hours playtime, which is well worth the money, in my opinion. You got Borderlands 2, which I know all three of us are getting it, and Syndicate. I haven't heard much about that, but that's more of like a sci-fi. Chicken, do you know much about the scenario with Syndicate? Is it like a sci-fi? What is it?
I believe it's set in the future. I'm thinking like 2069 or something. There isn't a whole lot of information out on it, which is kind of disappointing. There's a few videos and stuff, and from what I've seen, just visually it looks similar to Deus Ex, but I didn't play Deus Ex, so I guess
Okay.
I'm not the best judge of that, but just from video to video comparing the two games, they kind of look a little bit similar, but I believe it's supposed to be 4-player co-op, sort of standalone campaign stuff. I'm not too sure the extent of the co-op in Mass Effect 3 though. I don't know how that's going to translate. So, but hopefully they're both good for co-op.
Well, based on what I played in Mass Effect 2, they're saying Mass Effect 3 is basically supposed to be a lot more challenging than both Mass Effect 1 and 2. It sounds like the co-op in itself will actually kind of make the game a little bit less difficult, but at the same time it provides a more immersive experience. And it sounds like they've tailored a lot of the missions or quests, whatever you want to call them, kind of like Borderlands, where if you're in co-op, it makes it much more enjoyable. But yeah, like I said, I played a lot of Mass Effect 2. That's basically the only thing that's missing from the Mass Effect series is co-op, and I can't wait to play it with you guys. I hope you guys get it. It seems like it's going to be a great game, just like Borderlands 2. Yeah, and Syndicate also one to look out for. What do you think, Rob? You looking forward to Mass Effect 3, or do you not know much about it?
I really, only thing I know about it is what's been put out in the media, but I'm always willing to pick up a game that has co-op, so long as A, there are some buddies that actually also pick it up and, importantly, actually play it, and B, it doesn't have more than 2 of dwarves, dragons, or thatched roofs, which is one of my primary rules. So, bar that, if a game has co-op, it looks interesting, and I've got buddies that'll actually play it, I'll probably pick it up and try it out because I'm a huge fan of co-op.
Oh yeah, and this seems to be like the year of co-op for sure. Even last year we had Battlefield 3, Modern Warfare 3. I know there's more than just that. Oh yeah, we had Magicka, but that had the criteria specified, and I know you didn't get it, but I know Chicken and I got it. We played it for a long time, probably about a month or 2. Yeah, this year is definitely looking good. Definitely a lot of good games coming out. A lot of great enjoyment. I can already see that I'm probably going to be putting 100 or so hours in. Well, I hope I do. I know I didn't play that much of Borderlands, but I hope I put more hours into Borderlands 2. What are you looking forward to the most in Borderlands 2, Chicken?
Well, I don't really know. There hasn't been a whole lot of information coming out about the game itself, but hopefully it stays somewhat similar to Borderlands. I hope they don't try to reinvent the wheel on that franchise, because the first game was fun, so all I want is just more of fun. And then, yeah, I'll just play the shit out of it.
And it sounds like what they're doing is they're basically replacing all 4 of the main characters with new characters to give it a fresh appeal. Is that correct?
Not a clue.
Oh, okay. Well, guys, unfortunately there wasn't too much to discuss, but I'd like to thank you all for showing up and all of our guests for tuning in. Thank you very much, Chicken, for showing up.
Hey, no problem, anytime.
And as always, thank you, Rob.
Pleasure.
All right, and that end of our show, guys. Thank you for tuning in, and our new time as of this new year is Saturday at 1 p.m. Pacific time and 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern. So our next show will be on the 28th of Saturday. See you guys then.
So anyway, we're between banks right now. Just make those checks out to cash. Cave Johnson, we're done here.